Hello and welcome to the next episode. This is our series which looks at Lego Room and of course my life, and the Jurassic Park section within our theme park continues in this upload. This is how we left the last upload. We have the loop coaster on the left, the Jurassic Park gates got moved over to the right hand side, and I added in this bit, well, because I'm stupid. But what we are going to be trying to do today is mess around with a bit of track, and we do need to add in some path all ready for the releases of the new film and of course the Lego sets that come with it. So with that being said, let's get to it. So because I am really stupid, I actually had the table in the way and I never saw what the back of those gates looked like in the last upload. Now, obviously, if they were spun round the other way, that's exactly how you would have going from one theme park section to another, from land to land to land. So I could potentially turn it around and see the back of the gates, but then at the same time, I do quite like having the Jurassic Park at the front with the loop coaster, even though it doesn't make sense because you're supposed to be going into Jurassic Park, not going out. But at the same time, well, it links into the next section, which is Harry Potter. So I'm not too sure whether to have the gates facing the other way or not, because you can easily see them from here. And then when I'm sat on the table, it's not really going to make too much of a difference. So before I actually start to do anything, do we prefer the tracks going that way? Or do we have it like you would have when you enter the land in the theme park, where this actually faces the other way? Now, I think it's going to look effective from one side, but then not look as neat from the other. So when the other sets and things are there, I don't know if you're going to be able to see the floor as much. So that's what it looks like from the back of the land, which now doesn't look very good at all. But then when you look from this side, you've got the Jurassic Park gates facing the right way. It makes more sense like that, to be honest, but I don't know, because when you get to this part, you're going to look at it from a separate display point of view as well. You've just got the back of the gates, but it does mean you can see those little bits and pieces. And that is something, when I put those gates to the side, I didn't actually think about turning them around, hence why I'm stupid. The big problem is I don't think you're only going to see the sign basically when all of this land gets finished, because of the other sets that are going to be added. So even though it makes more sense that way, you're going to see more of the set if I have it spun round this way. So if you are new to the channel and you're wondering what I am waffling on about, each area is a completely different section like you would have in a theme park. So we're in the process of basically copying the different IPs from Universal Studios, and of course you've got some Disney bits and pieces, and because it is a Lego channel, some bits and pieces from the Legoland stuff as well. So we have got Jurassic Park over on this side, we've got a nice Star Wars section on this side. They're all in different phases of development. So we have a blueprint, we have one that is basically just waiting for tiling and minifigures. You've got all the Ninjago stuff. We've just added in the big eyeball with the black base plates, which looks really, really clean. Getting ready for the base plates for here as well. All of these are going to be base plates. Got an idea to go underneath that. I think that, because it's a double Kallax with 9 base plates, I think that's going to be our tribute. I say tribute, sort of more of an Easter egg to the Legoland. Because as it stands right now, we've got all these different IPs, but there isn't their own IP that you would just get in the Legoland park. Obviously Ninjago is, and that's its own land. But what I mean by that is a castle, a pirate thing, and a Viking thing, because that is their big areas that they've got over on that bit. And it does kind of mean I could potentially use the Indiana Jones set for the first time properly, because they have a laser shooter over there, which is very similar to that. But that is much further down the line. The reason why this has been moved is because I didn't like it down on the floor. I need to think about relocating that Disney castle. All of that's dark because that has literally got put down there last week. So I think the fun and games we're gonna have to start with is this track. Now, I did say in the upload before this one, I didn't know whether to do a little bit of tiling on the track and just see what it would look like if it's basically a glorified footpath as you would enter the land or not. Now we have got all sorts of different coloured tiles and things, but I've got a bad feeling I don't have any of the right colours. I've got a few dark greens lying around, and there might be some lime green ones at the bottom of this bag as well. So I have got bags and bags of different, there's some lime, tiles, nice mints, blue, red, there's some more green, darker green at the bottom of this. So we could, there's a bag of dark green, we could give it a go. But I don't know what it's going to look like until we do it. So that is what we're going to do first. And just see what it will be like. Because the path, obviously, is the two-tone green for the Jurassic Park. So we've got these two, and I've had to change the colour because I wanted the darker colour, but you couldn't really see it on camera. So I've mixed it up with the lime, and that's possibly what I'm going to have to carry on doing with this. So I don't know whether to go 1 and 1. So what I mean by that is we have 2 lime, and then obviously the 2 lime, and then the 2 dark green in between, and then obviously the next one would be dark green as well. And it is just a glorified footpath because there's no way I could, there's no way it's going to line up, but I could put the darker grey or the grey in between, but I don't think that's going to work. I might have to use individual studs, but then it looks like a path as you're coming in and out, and then it's just a big Easter egg to what we're going to be doing. So that's what that looks like. So I'll let you guys and go simmer on that. That might be something I'll do either at the end of this upload or when all the sets actually do get added in, because the track potentially might have to be tweaked anyway. But the hard bit that I'm going to have is actually getting this anywhere near, because I have no idea if I can actually make an S out of this and if it will give me enough curve, because we have to come to there, and there is no chance that I can oh, it might be. I took that bit off and put that straight on. It just needs to be close. It's not going to be perfect, but it would do. It would do for now. Oh bugger! It would be nice if it actually fitted. Is if that went like that. Now that is. It will go, but I'm going to have to lift that up to get that in. That's clearly something that isn't going to work. Oh, what a shame. As per normal, with everything I do, I am off by a couple of studs. Now, it would work if the track wasn't behind it, and we covered that in the last upload, so I'm not going to bore everybody with future plans for that. But there's no way I can get that any further back. I can't. We could. It doesn't look too bad, and obviously I can move it up, because if it is just supposed to be a footpath, it's not as bad. If we are going to go down the route of a cart on this bit, then obviously that's something slightly different. But I think potentially the cart around the outside, and then we could try. So if I took that bit off. Put that bit there. Yeah, it's gonna be absolute pig to even attempt to do any of that. So what I would have to do is the tiles would have to go down first, basically all the underneath here, won't they? But I'm going to have to put them on straight. So if I did, as a test, put, that's a row of 4. And if I carried on with that, what would that look like sat on top? It's going to open up a whole can of worms, I know, but you got that sort of idea for a path if it was underneath. Really, it's the one go around. They need to be on, and I'm going to somehow have to build that up. I don't know. This wasn't on my radar of things to do today with regards to colouring these. The path looks nice, I just don't know about the track. And I don't know if the track is actually going to have to, if the track can stay there with all of the sets that are coming out. I might just have to have that amount of track, like that. And then basically it's on fire because it's a complete disaster. That is what this is supposed to be. So we could potentially do that, and we have something at the end. It's either derailed or it's a part of the ride that's gone completely wrong, which then keeps all the base plates open. So that's our 2 options, I guess. Because then if that was just knackered and then this one was, you know, dislodged, so we had a straight, for example, that was just off ever so slightly, so it all looks like it's been disturbed, so it was like, I don't know, like that, and it's all broken, or, you know, the track just isn't right. We could potentially do something like that, and then this could just be from the middle opened up, and then that would run. I think the nicest thing to do would be to run the path from the middle all the way in a straight line across to here, and then tee it back off to the front of that as a giveaway. Because that might be the cleanest thing to do, because this track idea has evolved, and it's still evolving as well, because this was going to be the ride to the Jurassic Park, and it's all going to be a disaster. That's still an option. It could just be that. I said this in the last upload. Tempted to expand the track, and it's just a train track with a fork off into the Jurassic Park where it's all gone wrong. Because really it'd be like that, wouldn't it? So we could have something at the end of this track with the T-Rex, with a vehicle at the end, or something like that, where it's all just gone completely wrong, where it will be a custom vehicle of Jurassic Park, basically on fire, is what the plan is, with the wheels missing, essentially upside down, and it just goes there. And then what you see on the actual train ride is that, if that makes sense. So if you may think of it from a theme park perspective, and as you're going around, you want to see different bits and pieces from the train track side of stuff, and that's how they tend to design all those bits. So it looks like you could have gone into the Jurassic Park while you're on your train journey, and then at the moment we're just going behind it and then looping round, and then obviously we could put some dinosaurs here where they're attacking this part of the track, and obviously you're on the switch track and you're carrying on forward. Or it carries on into the superhero section and it's all themed in different bits, which I do quite like the thought of, but it's going to be a bit of a pig with regards to moving all of these slightly forward and just trying to get everything to fit. So I think what we're going to do, I keep turning you around and looking at my face for absolutely no reason, is we're going to see if we can just get this bit dialed in and tiled in, and just see what we can do with this bit. The more I look at this, the more I can imagine that being a Jurassic Park themed vehicle with the train tracks on, with the train wheels on the bottom, and it's fallen off. And then everything else around the outside, it's just a normal train. I think that would look quite smart. So that isn't the ride to the Jurassic Park. This is the ride to the actual theme park. And then that's the bit that could have been. Because even if I just had the car at the end of the track and didn't even put the wheels on it, I think it would still look very, very effective, because there's quite a few vehicles to play with. I know I'm clutching at straws. But I'm going to leave the Stranger Things wagon there, just so we can figure out what that would look like. That would be a little bit theming just up on that bit. Now I've got to figure out what is going on with all of these. I don't even know what these bits are. I have no idea where some of these bits have come from. I think one of the cats must have been up here. Looks that way. And then, yeah. So we've got some small raptors. We've got some bits and pieces. So remember, this is going to be, I am looking forward to this massively, because this is going to be chaos with regards to all the minifigures basically being eaten inside all of the dinosaur mouths. It's just a case of where is the best place to put the gates with regards to studs, because ideally I think what I'm going to do is come off this middle piece and then just bring it over, and if it then the gates need to, well, I can't actually do that because this is as far over as the gates can come. It can move over by maybe 4 studs. So do I just go in a straight line from there and then just tee it off, so I don't have any hassle? Or do I move the gates a little bit further up and then come a little bit closer to that path? If we come this way more, it gives us more space up here, and I think we could potentially put something smaller here, and then from here we'd actually have a path to read that plaque and plinth, and I think we can have something else beside the gates. And I'm doing all this blind because I don't know the size of the sets, so I am being really stupid tiling all this in because it's not all here, but I'm only going to go to certain places. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to just go over basically in a straight line from the middle of that. So if I actually just take those up and we come, that's to the track. That is to the track at the moment. So if I did that and that, that is the middle. Now I can just keep, I think I would want more space up here for something. There's going to be something else in the back corner, so that'd be 2, and then we've got plenty of space for base plates for the other bits and pieces. So I think we're on to the safest option potentially with regards to what we can put down here. It's just nice to see it take shape. Let's have a look-see. That did not go to plan. So what I was about to say is let's have a look-see and then carry on, and then what I ended up doing was actually turning the camera off because it's so hot up here. This camera is starting to smell. Now it's taken a lot of abuse already today, and I've got to be careful I don't ruin another battery. So yes, I think we're gonna have to go. The reason why I'm being a little bit weird like this is because I was off by a stud when I did this, and it's because of how the base plates are against the wall. So I went all the way up and went all the way across to line it up at the back, and well, it's a stud off, and I base plated 5 plates because I started that end and it's absolutely perfect. And you would think as you're going all the way down, it would be perfect, but because there's less base plates in here and there's more base plates up at the top, yeah, it didn't quite go to plan on that. So I'm gonna have to sort of try and come down a little bit, and I guess meet somewhere on here. But I could cheat, and I can move that. So with all the bits and pieces at the front, this is 6 again. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to put a colour in. So we're off there. Oh, we want it. If it was like that, it would be like that. I think would be the way to do it. I'm not going to put the colour down. But yeah, that's the way. We're slightly off at the back, but I really don't care because I've got no choice unless I move it all over, because I have to in a minute. So this line is coming to there, and then we got 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. So we are off again by a stud, because what I'm now going to have to do to get all these to line up, I don't particularly want to add a 1x2, is I either come over by a stud, which is, he says, easy. But I've actually, because I've pinned it in with those already, this actually now doesn't move. That's fantastic. God, that is in tight, that is. So yeah, I either move it towards me by 1 or move it over by 1. Not that's going to make much of a difference whatsoever, but I can't actually move it over. So I'm going to have to move this, take all these off, the joys, put that there. Oh, definitely didn't want to do that. That goes there. The same thing with all of these. All of these up. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. And then there we go. And then now, what should happen? He says if I just went in a straight line with all of these, this should, he says, line up. And going by what I am eyeballing, I think we are on to something. So if I wanted that to line up perfectly, it would be there. Oh. Yeah, that'd be all right. Really, it has to be like that. So that is that bit. And then we can carry on with this bit, I suppose, because what we'll be able to do is then meet in the middle. So if I came all the way back up, because don't forget the path is also coming over from the left, and we would then carry on to the left hand side. Now this is going to be the next thing. Is it going to be off here? Am I going to have to do a 1x2? So did I do all of this and move it? Absolutely no reason at all now I'm putting all of these down, the base plates will start to get lined up a little bit better, because the base plates have shifted and moved ever so slightly. Oh, done all of that and we're still, oh no, hang on. Yeah, we're going to be off. So I still need to put a 1x2 in. Oh, after all of that, what an absolute nightmare. It's because we're off down there, aren't we? Because the track's on the base one stud, so it's thrown us all off. And then when we get to the other end, I just need a 1x2, which isn't a problem, as I have got plenty of them. It just means I didn't actually. Oh no, I did, because it didn't. It was the wrong way for that, wasn't it? So this next piece over here now just goes in a straight line, and then obviously what I can then do is do what I've just done, or what I'm about to do at the other end, and tee this bit off, which I think is going to now I put the gates here and it's facing inwards. It kind of, this is the first time I've gone, yeah, it kind of feels like you're entering a theme park area and then you're pinging off. I've always said it's a spider's web, because if you think about it, that's what it kind of is in the theme parks. When you get into each land, you then kick off left, right and all sorts, and then you basically come in and out the same way. So a lot of them are circular, big circle shapes, and you come back through the gates, and then you can either go into the next land and do the same thing, or you can use some of the lands as a cut through, where you go from one land to another. So that is that bit. So what bit am I going to take? So I need to take it up, because we're now teeing that bit in together. Stay. Is this bit in the middle. It's coming off, and it's going to be replaced. Well, we started, there's a dark green there, so we're going to have to go, what colour do we go? Oh, we've got a gap anyway, so we can figure that out. You have a gap there? It doesn't really make a difference where the gap is, does it? Because if I did, I finish where that is, it's three studs. So I could go 1, 2, 3, and then we can pick and choose if we're going to use a darker or lighter. And then we'll just carry on that pattern all the way up. And hopefully it will start to show on camera a little bit better when there's a little bit more path down. We are going to have to, there they are, definitely going to have to order some more brighter tiles, so we haven't got many left, so I'll just do what I can with that, and then I can just add the darker green down. And then I will put in a huge volume of tiles. So we are going to go 1, 2, 3. And we've got the same thing here. So are we then going to go, I think we're going to have to do that, aren't we? Like that. Which then leads into one, well, actually leads into two studs. That's those two there. Like I said, they'll all line up, and then we're going to come all the way over, and we'll put 3 down. Well, they're the last 2, so put those 2 down, leave 1, go for 3, leave 3, 1, 2, 3, go for 3, and then have 2. So we're at 7 7 Bright Colours short. Now I don't know if it's on a different base plate or not, so I'm going to try and find some of those colour tiles, and fingers crossed we'll get that little bit finished. I am beyond stupid, let's be honest. So they're the pieces, that's where they went, and I actually do have some more random bits and bobs in there that I've just found, and I have found some more there. So we should have enough just to cover the basics of this, which will be great. So that'll go there, that'll go there, and what we need 4, no, 4 short, 4 on there, haven't we? So that was the idea of the track. Now we could, I don't know, with regards to the, I can't get them off. I can't get them off. There we go. With regards to the track, because obviously we are going to have the track in some sort of form, do I do it? Or do we have the track as part of the theming and I have all dark brown on there instead? So it's a track that's wrong. Do we have the track on fire? Because obviously now it's not going to be a path. I do like that. I do like it because now I can just see another path going off that way. I guess I've got a couple of options actually, because I don't technically have to put a path in, because what I can do is do what I've done here, and if I just nab a few of these trees, not all of them obviously, but just a few of them. I know they're Christmas. I wonder if I can get different types of trees. If we can just start to put some trees around like that, for example. And we don't path it, because I think this bit, it needs space. So potentially that corner, we could path it, but we could path it. We either keep it all foresty based in front of here, and then you can just get off, because don't forget at the back it's got a seating area, isn't it, just there, so you can actually see the sign from there. So we could just put a couple of trees and leave it. We could put a path coming off that one, and it just means you can actually take a photo and use it as a photo opportunity and come back again, because you've got those 2 minifigures. Well, I say 2, there's 1 there. There is the other one. I did do a short with it, and can I remember where I put it? It's here somewhere. I need a better system for shorts, so I do so many of them. But yeah, we could put a couple of bits and pieces there, just to sort of add it up. Because if we had some trees there, potentially we could have the smaller raptors in there. So I've got these 2 raptors on, just on hand. So what we're going to need, 5. Yeah, if I take a couple of these. And we'll put some dotted things about. Obviously I'm not pushing them down, so I can easily get them off. Can't see a thing. So if we, because again I'm thinking of theming from the train perspective, I think that little area there, full of these little critters, because it's all escaped, I think that would look nice. And I don't really think you're going to need a path from there. I think it's just nice little area. So I can fill it with the little raptors, which I have got a bag of some somewhere, because I collected all the Jurassic Park magazines and I had some there. Because the nice thing is that they're in scale with the little butterflies and things that actually come from this set. And this set, because it is beautiful and I can actually now utilize it properly, it will be fantastic. Now, in case you missed the first part, what this is actually going to turn into is the roof's going to come off on a slight twist, and it's going to have all the dinosaurs basically ripping the people out from it. So it's their fancy bird sanctuary that they had in the original Jurassic Park trilogy, and then obviously it got revisited in Jurassic World. It was the big dome, And obviously when it had all overgrown, it was very, very green and luscious. But I mean, I'm sure it was like a walk-through bit as well, because obviously it was part of a theme park area that they had. So you could visit it. But because this reminds me of the Gardens by the Bay of Singapore, and Gardens by the Bay in Singapore in a few weeks' time are going to be doing a special with the new Jurassic Park movie, it's kind of a triple whammy, and I'm stupid. So that's basically what the conclusion was in the last one. So yeah, if we kept the cage as a bit of an egg just there, and I filled that up over on that side with the little raptors, I think that would look nice. And then we will have another set here. Then we've got plenty of space for all the different sets there, and then we've got a set going up in the back. So yeah, I don't think we're going to need the path over in that bit. I don't think we need any more trees in that either, to be quite honest. And the base plate colour basically really is just for the different theming for the train rather than anything else now. We're not losing too many studs. There is a little bit, I was going to say there's a little bit I'd like to do in the corner. Now I can't, because obviously that corner's behind the track, so I could keep that Jurassic Park base. But if I am going to go full track, that corner then doesn't become like that, because we have the track going all the way across the back. But what then does free up is the bit just behind this sign, so I can actually push the sign back and then maybe add in a few more trees and keep that idea, but just put it on a larger scale. So that would work nicely. Now I've got to try and find all of these little dinosaurs and all these little things, because they are everywhere. Because I have had an idea to do a Jurassic Park thing for a long time, and I was getting all the little magazines and everything else like that, and well, something broke massively, including which was a table, in case you didn't know. And so if you recognise that, for example, that's supposed to be part of a gaming truck. Then if you recognise this is actually the roller coaster track from the space thing, and that is obviously something from Marvel. So there's just bits and pieces, and that's part of the gaming truck as well, in all these boxes that I am finding, and I'm just putting minifigures in all of them. And then when it comes to actually getting them all out, but annoyingly, yeah, I must have had close to 10 of them. Well, I do have close to 10 of them. It's just they're going to be in a bottom of a box somewhere. But I quite like that. I quite like this has taken shape quite nice. I know it's been over 2 parts, and if you're not a Jurassic Park fan, well, there's plenty of bits and pieces. I'm either going to jump over to the Star Wars bit and tidy up the path on there. I can't do anything on this table because the sets have yet to be released, and I have got an idea for where the 2 black base plates were. So if you saw the Super Mario template, I think with regards to the Transformers and that roller coaster and things, I think it needs a little bit more breathing space. So I think I'm going to have a full-blown sci-fi land, and I'm tempted to either have a Nintendo, well, it's not Super Mario World at Universal Japan, it's Nintendo World, because they've technically got Donkey Kong and everything there as well with its own roller coaster. So I could just have that, because I've done it, I've been on it, everything that's here I've done. Obviously, I've not been in the Avengers Tower, but the Daily Bugle I've been in for the Spider-Man ride at Florida. The Haunted House, where they're absolutely everywhere. The Joker's obviously just made up. That is a laser shooter in Dubai. That's obviously from Florida and a couple of other places. That is Universal Studios. That is obviously part of this. That is mirroring for me the huge Jurassic Park roller coaster they have over there. And I've done all the Star Wars walkthrough at Legoland Windsor. And then I've seen the Disney Castle, and it was that Disney Castle that I saw at Disney Florida. And then the modulars, well, that's just street theming for anything that you go into when you go into all of these big places. First, they've tend, especially Disney and Universal, you go through a street with all the shops and all that kind of thing. And I've seen all the Ninjago stuff, obviously at every single Legoland park around the world. So each thing there is a meaning to. The Lord of the Rings, obviously, is just is its own franchise, but there is supposed to be a interesting theory of if this does happen of it actually being an expansion to a franchise or a theme park somewhere around the world. So that would be brilliant. We've got the carousel up at the top with all of this. So all of this is going to be ready for base plates, and then we've got food for thought for 9 base plates underneath. I am tempted to do one of each that Legoland do. I was going to put the Colosseum in there and then have it as a mini land, but I think it'd actually be really nice, rather than just having the mini land from the Legoland, to have a representation of each land in the Kallax. And Ninjago's a huge thing, so that's done. And obviously that'll be spoken about in a separate upload, but I'm more than likely, it's definitely going to be I need the Viking village, which is in a huge sale. Probably should have picked up the Pirate Fortress, because that is the thing that they had at Legoland Billund. So if I can backtrack that one, then maybe that's it. If not, I've got the Barracuda Bay. And then it's just basically the castle. And the castle, I just need to have Ollie the Dragon with a roller coaster track in front of it, with those 2 things behind it. Done. What a perfect display that would be. And then I'll just basically maze it off with all of the paths. Now, as we're talking about paths, there's nothing else I can actually do now for this display. So I need to think about what way I'm going to be going to next. I do, like I said, I like the fact that we've got a basic template, and I just hope that one of the newer sets will just fit in that corner. Potentially the taller one, which is the mountainy type thing. If I can fit it at the corner, and even if it's behind the track and it will go in there, then that'll be absolutely perfect, because the path can just go to it and stop by the track, and then it's just obviously a little bit of theming in the corner. So there is method to the madness of all these little bits and pieces that are going to be happening, but it's just making them work. So I think that is it, and I am done. As always, let me know what your favourite section is within this sort of amusement park / theme park setup. Everybody's going to have their own different favourite IPs. We've got lots of progress that's been made like this as we're going, and there's going to be more and more tiling, and it is starting to get more and more tidy. We'll figure out what we're going to do with the vehicle here. Potentially, yeah, I think we need the original Jurassic Park car that runs on the tracks, which is the green with the red on, not the I've had an accident brown and red, because the I've had an accident brown with the red is the petrol, which is the one with Ned where he drives off. That will be its own display somewhere, so that little car with that could easily be in there, for example. But the actual car, I think, could just be abandoned with a couple of the figures around it, or just the dinosaurs around it, because it's supposed to run on the tracks. And to be honest, I could just keep the wheels on it, because it does have the wheels on in the thing. I know it's a lazy way of doing it, but it wouldn't look wrong. So it's yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting project. But as and when the sets come out, and as and when I backtrack some of the sets, that is what's going to happen. But again, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one.